Check one, two, check. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. The Coffee and Biscotti Show. I'm your host, Crew Mel Bellissimo. Today is Friday, December the 3rd, 12 o'clock EST. Wherever you are in the world, I hope that you are doing awesome. We are now officially in the holiday month and excited. All the kids are going wild. My little guy just got a 3-foot stuffy dinosaur from his grandma yesterday, and things are looking up. No matter what kind of media you're listening to, it's about the inside spirit and sharing that joy and inside spirit as we approach the holiday season. As you can see, my image background is very festive. Thank you, Restream. So, I got a show for you today. And I'll tell you why I got a show for you today. Because today is probably a show that I've been looking forward to the most. And I'll tell you why. Have you ever had interaction with someone and, you started off good. And then what happened is that, egos got in the way or something happened. It could be a friend. And then you lost touch. And then years later, you get an opportunity to reconnect. Have you ever felt like that? Today is that feeling multiplied by 100. I'll tell you why. Because my guest and I, we've got an interesting past. We were rivals. We had gyms, and our athletes used to compete against each other. And we all wanted to win because we all wanted the hype. We all wanted the bragging rights of saying, hey, did you see that fight? Yeah, it was this gym that won, or if it was that gym that won. Thinking that somehow, that would make us better people. After almost 25 years of being in Muay Thai, and a couple of weeks ago having an opportunity and the pleasure to sit ringside at an event here in Ottawa at Lansdowne Fight Factory, I got an opportunity to connect with some people that when I had a school, there was always some tension, rivalry. But now that I don't, I got a chance to see these people. And one of them is my guest today. Whether or not you like somebody or you don't, I have to give my guest the utmost respect. Muhammad Ali, when you speak to different people, some will call him a hero for doing what he did and standing up for himself and going into the ring and putting it all on the line, literally all on the line. So much so that his health deteriorated because of his engagement in the ring. And others would say that Muhammad Ali was crazy. Because why would you put your body at risk? My guest today, as far as I'm concerned, is a leader. He's a man that has dedicated himself since 1998 in the world of combative sports. We're living in an age where I'm getting all this advice about marketing. Hey, man, make sure the videos are not too long. Nobody wants to watch so many videos that are like 3 minutes long. My friends, what happens when you dedicate your life to something like my guest? Most people can't watch a 20-second video. Can you imagine dedicating a life for almost 25 years? To me, in my heart, that's something that should be celebrated. It's kind of like, for me, in my eyes, watching my parents be together for 65 years. And this past July, before my father passed, celebrated 65 years of marriage. Stuff that's unheard of. Well, for most, many people won't be in a career for 25 years. And therefore, I give the utmost respect to my guest today. He had a pro MMA career that spawned over 10 years. He's trained over 130 champions. Yeah, you heard me. 130 champions. From Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, kickboxing, Muay Thai, MMA. He is truly an ambassador to the combative sport arena here in Canada. You know, here in Ottawa, there's maybe a handful of people that have the kind of experience, knowledge, and know-how that my guest has. And I think that what's even more special is the fact that he did something for me a couple of months back. And after years of not communicating with each other, he sent me a simple message and he said, "Hey, how's Ottawa treating you?" And it was from those few words that opened the door to what I know will become a friendship that will prove to be important for our community here in Ottawa. He's a legend in the art of Muay Thai and MMA. He is a great man. He's a mentor, a leader. He inspires and motivates his students. He's a successful entrepreneur. He's a loving father. And there's so much more. And that's what makes my guest so special today. So, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are in the world, get off of your comfortable seat and put your hands together for the man, the myth, the legend, Crew Jeff Harrison.
That was quite the hype.
I was hoping I could make you blush. I call it a blush troll.
A difficult task.
Difficult task indeed. I feel that, brother. Well, listen, Crew, first off, I got to tell you, getting 90 minutes of your time is not an easy task. So I think that from all of us here at the Coffee and Biscotti Show, all of our friends.
This is cool.
Yeah, man, it's really cool to have you. You know, it's funny because...
The tree.
Yeah, the tree. Do you like
cool.
that? Did you like that tree? Yeah.
Check the mail.
Hey, right?
Check the mail there, yep.
Check the mail, thank you.
Yep.
It's really great. It's really great to have somebody because, you know, the only other Crew that I've had on the show is Crew Warren Lee, and I think he's an extraordinary businessman and a super guy. And I just want to bring something up that I didn't in the introduction, guys. I don't know if you can see my shirt, but this is a shirt that I'm wearing backwards. I'm wearing backwards on purpose not because I made a mistake, but because of in the honor of Crew Jeff being on the show, I wanted to pay tribute and give this opportunity to honor one of our fallen Muay Thai warriors in Crew Achilles Meredith, who passed 3 years ago, way too soon. And, you know, Crew Achilles had that fighter warrior spirit. And I'm dedicating the show to him because when I thought about you and I thought about what I was going to do for the show, I said, this is a wonderful time to pay tribute because you are exactly that. And you are the embodiment of a warrior.
Thank you,
And,
sir.
so it's really great to have you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So crew, I got to be honest with you though, like everybody, the UFC, if you're a fighter in the, if you're a fighter in the UFC, it's like the stardom you get, you're like a rock star. But the truth is that nobody knows what it's really like. Unless you're an athlete, you don't know the ups and the downs, the trials and tribulations.
Yeah.
I always explain to people that if you ever go to Thailand, it's not the rich people that are practicing Muay Thai, at least not from a fighting perspective. It's those that are fighting to bring food to their families that are fighting.
Absolutely.
And so, Jeff, what I like to do on every show is I want the audience to really know who Crew Jeff is, because you're an amazing man who's been through lots of ups and downs. And I want you to paint a picture. Jeff, start from wherever you want to start. Start from the beginning. Start from Stratford, Ontario.
Stratford, what?
Represent.
Yeah, Stratford, man. Just big enough that it's not quite a hick town, just cultured enough that we have the largest repertoire Shakespearean theater outside of England, and lots of culture, lots of great food, lots of tourism. About 500,000 people pour through that city every year in the summer during theater season, right? So what an amazing place! It's a mixing pot of education, of culture, of music, and vibrant liberal arts, and it's also a place of toughness and a place of hardness and a place of like this underbelly of Stratford, where there's this unseen part of it, and it's blue collar folks that keep the thing turning. So it's a Stratford is like dichotomy. It's incredible. It's like very, very polar opposites and not a lot of in between. And that's where I come from, And I think a lot of people that come from Stratford, I know a lot of my friends are super, super successful because of the education they received and just the beliefs that a lot of, like, you grow up in a town like that, you just believe anything's possible. And I'm grateful to be born there and not to be born in a larger metropolis where kind of the anonymity or the fact that you're so anonymous can kind of, maybe even stagger your belief. You know what I mean? It was just it was a great place to grow up, and I'm really 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 grateful that I grew up in Stratford, man. Very cool.
So, like how would you start the story, Crew? Like where would you
The martial arts story?
Well, I think you could do the martial arts story. I mean, what I wanted to sort of illustrate, and let me just add this for a moment, Crew, just to say that the purpose of the Coffee and Biscotti show, when I spoke to Poutine Nation, who's helping me moderate the show, who's online here today, who's a dear friend of mine, his name is Josh. He said to me, Crew, when I started this show, that this was like a coffee shop and everybody could come in on the chat and talk and ask questions. And he said, what do you want to do with it? And I said, I want to bring to light stories of passion and transformation. And I know that you have had both, Crew. Lots of passion. It's evident in your every day that you hit the mats, but more importantly, lots of transformation in your life. And those are the things that I want to highlight.
Okay. So if you wanted to start the martial arts journey, I'd start with a kid that was 2 years old learning to play piano. That kid was me. And what that taught me was how to practice. And it could be martial arts, it could be sport, it could be music, it could be a lot of different things. But if a parent urges you and stays committed to something and guides you through it, my mother was my piano teacher, it will enforce habits in you that last a lifetime. And for me, that's where my journey starts. And everyone asks me, like, well, like, where did it start? For me, it was learning how to practice. Not just practice piano, because obviously that has nothing to do with like fighting or business or anything else, but it teaches you how to be committed to something. So it started with my mother's commitment. and my father's commitment to me and my brother being better. You know, and my family was not perfect, that's for sure. You know, I don't really want to go into that too much, but you know, my upbringing was very hard because there were such crazy expectations on me and my brother from my father. But you know, I'm now a successful entrepreneur, and my brother is a doctor and a university professor um, at the University of Chicago, and he is one of the best in the world at what he does. So, learning how to practice, learning to be able to focus is where this all started. Now, music, eventually, I once you get to high school, it's like it's okay, but it's not cool anymore. So I became I got into a rock band instead, you know, and I started to play shows. And we made a CD, we made an album. I'm never gonna tell anybody what it's called, what it was called, because it was grunge music, you know, it was rock and roll, man. But yeah, in high school, I got to play legendary halls like Lee's Palace and the Reverb and the Ambassador and like all these cool places that I wasn't even old enough to go into. And I got to do that for a little bit, and then I started to watch. I saw the first UFC like when I was like younger. Like I wasn't allowed to be exposed to violence because I grew up in a Christian home. No rock music. Like it was very very strict. No rock music. No, you know, no like movies that I shouldn't be watching. Like I was very very protected, especially by my father, and just like Christian values, Christian values, Christian values. And yeah, man. So was doing the rock music thing. I wasn't allowed to watch UFC, but I saw it earlier, and then I just started like like going to friends' houses and watching this thing, like martial arts. This is fascinating. This is cool, man. You know, and it just it's something. Even like watching the kickboxer Jean Claude Van Damme, or watching boxing. My dad loved boxing. Boxing, you know, he was always a fan of pugilism, and just watching it with him, you get that stomach knot that you get right before you're going to get in a fight. I've been in a lot of fights. I've been in I don't know how many fights, too many fights. You know what I mean? But like right before, like, whoosh, and you get that when you're a kid watching boxing, and you're like, wow, these guys, man, like they could be hurt. You're watching Jean Claude fight Tong Po, you know, and it's like he's kicking the walls, man. He's kicking the fucking walls, man. Yeah, you know, like it's like or like so I started renting all these movies, and then I really was working out. I wanted to be physical. I wanted to get that aggression out. I was angry from like the way that I was being repressed and being creatively stifled, and I was very policed by my father. And I was in the gym one day and I saw this gentleman doing all this crazy shit. Like, wow, what is that? He's doing a flying knee and like doing like cool like self defense moves and stuff. And I go up to him and I'm like, "What's your name?" I'm so high. He's like, "Chris Q. Who are you?" I'm like, "I'm Jeff." And I'm like muscle, like a muscle kid. You know those kids that go work out all day because they got nothing else to do. You know, better than being at home, getting yelled at by my dad for not getting straight A's or something. And I'm like, "I want to learn that." He's like, "First, you must buy the Teo of Jeet Kune Do." I was like, "Oh, what's that?" He's like, "It's a book written by Bruce Lee when he broke his neck." I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna go buy that book." And I'm like, "But when can we?" He's like, "Meet me at," I forget the number. I forget the street too. It was like some street off in like one of the blue collar neighborhoods. "Meet me at this place at this time." And I'm like, "I will." I didn't drive. I didn't have a car. I didn't want to drive my car because my family was fairly poor and we didn't have a nice car, and all my friends were rich. Um, and I went. I went to this spot. I took a cab there, and I got out. I knock on the door. At the time, he told me to. No one was there. It's like, fuck, man, that bastard, you know. But I still went and got the Teo of Jeet Kune Do. I still went and got the Teo of Jeet Kune Do, and I read it, and I started working with a judo practitioner who was on the national judo team, and in Montreal there, trained with Nicholas Gill, trained with a lot of good guys, and he started showing me some cool stuff on the ground, and You know, there was another guy that would come in who was like, it wasn't even MMA back then. It was called NHB, and we would fight. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I would fight them. I would try real hard. And he'd be like, armbar, boom, slam, throw, takedown, blah, just getting like, beat up. This is when I'm in high school still, right? I took a couple buddies, but they didn't last because they were like, "That fuck that, man." That was hard. You know, that guy beat the crap out of us, but I loved it, man. His name was Aaron Bonner. He was actually my first coach ever, a judo black belt, and he gave me the keys to the judo club. I could go in there and I could hit the bag, even though I didn't know how. You know, I was working on some crazy shit that I learned in the Teo Jeet Kune Do. Eventually, I heard that there was a Muay Thai gym opening in Stratford called Stratford Muay Thai. And I'm like, this is awesome. I can't wait. I go in, and who's the guy? It's the guy that stood me up. It's Chris Q. You know what I mean? And he had a bit of a notorious reputation around town. And the judo guys were like, be careful. But me and Chris always got along. And from day one, he was like, he had his fighters fighting on Team Tompkins. Sean Tompkins. Speaking of another fallen soldier, rest in peace, Sean Tompkins. Right? He went on to do such inspiring things. He inspired me to keep at it, to be honest, because like, look at what he accomplished. Like, there's a guy from Tilsonburg. He's got the crowd. He's got his boss Rutan. Amazing coach. Wow.
Mark Hominick, Chris Hordecki, all of them.
Man. Fuck, Vitor Belfort, like Dan Anderson knocked out Anderson. Like his guys would win because of the belief he had in himself. And I was like, wow, this guy from a town smaller than mine can do it. That was a big inspiration for me, seeing that guy, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, I go to the gym, and I go to Crew Chris's gym, and he had his fighters fighting on Team Tompkins shows, doing the in-house. It was like Kawartha kickboxing, and like it was illegal back then because it was highly illegal. You couldn't do Muay Thai. There was Suchard having his shows. It was like, Camtow was just starting to emerge. It was before that. It was like I forget what it's called, Amateur Muay Thai Canada or something, AMTC. When I first met Chris, and like, yeah, man, just started training, but like he wouldn't give me any attention because he was working with his fighters all the time. Just go shadow box, go hit the bag. So I would shadow box. That's why my footwork's so good now, man. Like I shadow box literally for like 45 minutes every day, moving around this big, beautiful gym in downtown Stratford, Ontario. Hit the bag. Finally, he asked me, "You want to spar?" I was like, "Yeah, I want to spar." So I sparred one of his guys. I won't name names, right? But I sparred one of his guys. It was the first time I ever sparred, and he had fought Nick Rondinelli, if you remember Nick Rondinelli. From
the Italian Stallion.
Italian Stallion, man. And this guy took Nick Rondinelli to like the fucking limit, man. It was cool. And I sparred with him the first time, and he comes in, he's throwing body shots. I'm like, "Bah!" And he's like, "What?" I hit him pretty good, man. It felt great. And I saw his eyes like weebling around. I'm like, that's when I started getting attention. And they would kick the fuck out of him. Like we would spar, and like sometimes I'd win, sometimes I'd lose. Crew Chris would just like I couldn't even walk most days because like Crew Chris, you see the size of his legs. He just kicked me. We didn't know any better. My best rounds, the best rounds of my life were for head and my brain were definitely spent in the first 4 years of my training. Whether it be in Stratford or be in Brazil. Yeah, man, I just I fell in love with it immediately. Stopped everything else. I was laying floors at the time, getting out of high school, and like my parents were getting divorced, and I was so angry. And I just found such peace in the violence, and it was so peaceful to me. And even just the other day, like I was talking to my therapist yesterday because I have to do therapy because I've had a lot in my life, you know what I mean? And it's not bad. If you want to get stronger, get a personal trainer. If you want to get clear, get someone like yourself or a therapist or whoever else, you know what I mean? So yeah, I was talking, I was talking to him, and he's like, what is something, because life's very stressful right now. I was like, what is something that you can do that always just like clears your mind? I'm like, man, I was having the worst day, and then I sparred with my guys, 4-ounce gloves, like real sparring, not hard, but like if you make a mistake, those 4-ounce gloves don't feel good. Small MMA gloves. And after that experience where nothing else matters, I felt great. I felt just focused. Everything was, it's like, it's therapy for me, just get in there and expose yourself to danger. And the cool thing is nothing else can matter in there. You know that because you fought, right? If you got something else on your brain, like I had all this stuff just like weighing down on me, and you have to leave it when you step into the cage. Because if you don't, wow,
Yeah.
man,
You feel it for weeks.
if you're thinking about a bill to pay and someone's throwing a 4-ounce glove at you, like you're nuked, right? So to me, like they call it the chamber of truth, the boxing ring. For the cage, the Muay Thai ring, the boxing ring, whatever it is, even the mats, even rolling. Like if you're thinking about something else, like and sometimes it happens to me, like you get caught, man, and you lose, right? So to me, that use of martial arts as a tool of focus, and not just martial arts, but like actually like exposing yourself to a little bit of danger, really brings out the focus in me, and it makes me feel very human. Because I think that's what we're meant to do. I think we're meant to be exposed to danger intrinsically. Our chemicals are designed for that. Our chemicals are not designed to be sitting with, trees and microphones in front of us doing what we're doing now. I don't think. You know what I mean? It's evolved into that, but like inside of us, there's these animalistic chemicals, and I like touching into that. In a very like controlled setting, like sparring, where it just gives me great focus. So I don't know if that answered your question, but that's how it started.
Well, I mean,
I found that focus, and that ability to escape my life, which was not nice. My parents getting divorced, my mom running out the door, my dad. I don't want to. He wasn't the best always to us. And like just getting away from that and getting into fight sport was a very, 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 very powerful thing. Because I was on my own, like when I was kind of like 18, right? Because like my parents got divorced, and then my brother left to go on his modeling career. He moved to Toronto, and it was just like it was me, man. So I went under the wing of my first coaches, and that's kind of how the whole thing started. You know.
Well, I mean, there's so much to unpack, Crew Jeff. It's really remarkable. I think that one of the things that I always tell people, which I love that you brought up, was this idea and this concept of being present. You see,
Yeah.
that's important to me because it's a question that I got asked a lot through my career was, why did you decide to go do? Like, can you imagine my Italian mom saying, why do you want to do this stuff? And I said,
Yeah.
Mom, because I love it. She said, oh,
Mhm.
you're going to go to China. And I go, no, Ma, it's Thailand, but you don't know where that is. So that's okay.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we always talked about was, why, Crew Mel, did you choose this as a career? And the answer is in one sentence, Crew Jeff, and that is because it's the only thing that I've ever done where I totally lived in the present.
Yeah. And a lot of people spend a lot of money. They spend hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to figure this thing out. They buy drugs, they buy this, they buy that, just to feel that truth. And that's why fighting's so addictive. And for me, it was never about winning, or like obviously it's more fun when you win, right? 100%. But it's not about that. It's about feeling that aliveness that you feel when you're in harm's way. You know, I'm an adrenaline junkie for sure. Love the adrenaline. But more like it's just about, I understood that I never wanted to be like, I wanted to be a champion. I wanted to be this. I wanted to be that. But I always wanted to just be something in someone's life that can bring truth to it. You know what I mean? Can like, and and that's kind of ironic because a lot of things about me through my life have been not so truthful. You know what I mean? But
No.
there's that one thing that I can bring to people that I'm very fucking good at, and I earned it. You know what I mean? I earned the right to talk about what I talk about through my sacrifice, physical health, financial health. Like I've been homeless for this shit. I had a mat underneath the ring at one point. You know what I mean? Because I believed in what this was all going to come to fruition at one point. And now it is. and it's very, very rewarding. And I couldn't be. I know you don't want to toot your own horn, but I couldn't be prouder of where I'm at in life. And I know that I've acquired the skills and the tools over the years that if everything was taken away from me, the gym's burned down, like everything, all my money was stolen, I would be back on my feet in 6 months, and I will never not be successful because I know how to fight, and I know how to fucking grind, and I know how to outwork people and out sacrifice people. And I also have a ton of skills now, so I'm very grateful for the journey. It hasn't always been easy, but man, finding that truth, man, in anything you do is so important. And like you touched on too, like just passion, man. Like I love it so much. I went to take my boy to sparring yesterday, and I talked about fighting the whole way there, and I talked about fighting the whole way back.
That
And
was
then
at Cruel's gym.
Cruel's gym, yeah, and like we sparred, we went out, we talked about Muay Thai, we talked about fighting, we talked about techniques. I learned some fantastic techniques yesterday. The mind is always open. You can learn something from absolutely everybody. I would love to train with you eventually, and learn something because you have everyone. That's the thing, right? Everybody's different, man. Everyone has different experiences, so everyone has different translations of what that means to them. You know what I mean? And it's what you can do with Muay Thai is what different than what I can do for Muay Thai. See, because the way we were brought up, the psychology of how we think, just the game, right? Some people like to get hit, some people don't. Some people like to stay away and technical. Some people like to let's fight. You know what I mean? And none of them are wrong. There's no right and wrong. There's winning and losing. There's learning, and that's it, right? So it's what's not to be addictive and passionate about in this game, right? I fucking love. I just told my client, I'm like, I was like, sometimes I get reduced to almost like I never cry because I'm like a kind of like whatever. Hard, some people call me a hard man, right? But I literally was almost in tears this morning because I was so happy to be doing a drill with someone. Just like watching a student kick the pad, and obviously I'm but I was like, man, I love this shit so much, and that's the reason why we have hundreds and hundreds of students because that passion is contagious, and that's what people truly want. They want a leader.
100%.
A leader has to have passion. If you're following a guy that doesn't want to be followed, or you're following a guy that's not so sure of himself, right? Conviction. You have to have conviction. You have to know. That's why I never have to sell anything. I just talk about it. People are like, "Fuck, sign me up, man." You know what I mean? I
No
don't
doubt,
need a
man.
sales pitch. We just talk about it. You come in, you want to join our gym. Pete's gonna talk about jujitsu until you tell him to stop. You know what I mean? Or I'll be like, man, this is gonna change your life. I'm so certain of it, and it's believable because I'm not just saying that. I believe that.
And it's lived. It's
Yeah,
lived.
yeah. Change a person, change the world. I like the fighters and the champions, the gold medals, and it's 150, 151 now. Well, no, 150. 150. We're going for 151 if Mateo gets his title shot. But 150 champions. The last one was a lion fight professional champion. That was kind of cool that was 150. But those aren't the only things that matter. The things that matter are the emails where it's like, hey Jeff, I got off my high blood pressure medicine, or Jeff, I got accepted to medical school. Thanks for the letter of referral. Do you know how crazy that is? That doctors are like, oh, he says he's a good guy. He must be a good. To me, that's crazy. You know what I mean? But at the same time, if I want to get someone into my program and I want them to be elite, I would love someone that did an amateur fight because I know they know how to work. I know they understand the concept. It's the harder you work, the more you get. I know that they have to be smart. They have to, you know what I mean? So, yeah, man, it's like the little victories between the belts too. There's belts and there's gold medals, and those guys get all the attention and blah blah blah. But just watching people grow and grow and ascend, and just shed the snakeskin of their old beliefs and get bigger, and then shed that snakeskin of their old beliefs and get bigger, and it just keeps going, and it's cyclical until these people are giants, and they've gone from, I have a funny saying, I'm like cookie dough to hardwood, cookie dough to granite. You know what I mean? You start at cooking, but that's just like a physical, funny analogy, right? But it's like
Right.
they go from like these little people who think they might be able to do something into giants that can take on the fucking world, man. And to me, that provides me with a life purpose because if you can change the person, if you can change a person, you can change the world. That is on my website. That's on my Facebook. That's on my Instagram. That's on my MySpace. That's how long I've been I've been after that ethos. You know, like change a person, change the world. Change a person, change the world. Every day I get up and I say that. That's like one of my mantras. I get up, I'm like, change a person, change the world. Or I say, I fear nothing, I fear no man, because I'm big on like being completely strong all the time. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And yeah, man, just talking. Sorry, man. I don't even know what we're talking about.
I love it.
But
I
fuck, man.
think I think that what you're doing, Crew Jeff, is you're displaying and embodying exactly that. I felt what you felt. I've received the emails. I've written those letters of recommendation. So absolutely, I
Yeah,
feel
man.
you 100%. I think the beauty is that somebody else will feel it. You know, we've got the chat going on, in the background here. Want to give a shout out to Edwin 100X, and he wrote, yeah, he's got that kind of love for snowboarding. Flying down
Cool.
a mountain with one
Cool.
wrong turn, you can really hurt yourself. So you
That
got to
scares the
stay in
shit
the
out of
moment.
me. Put me in a cage any day, man. No thanks.
That's what I said, man. That's what I
Yeah.
said. And Josh wrote feels personally attacked cookie dough. What he don't
Oh,
know, Crew Jeff, is that no,
no, no,
he's
don't
just playing.
don't
He's
don't
just
follow me
playing.
on MySpace, Poutine Nation. That's not my MySpace. Harrison special.
Nice. But the truth is, Cruz, is that what I love about this is that there's something to be said about being involved in martial arts and
Yes.
what this does for a person and how this affects everybody that's willing to put an effort to do it.
Mhm.
Whether or not we talk about some of these simple things, like what does martial arts do? Well, it gives you discipline. It gives you a work ethic. It builds self-confidence. You have self-respect. You learn to respect others. So it's got all of these different elements. What I
Yes.
love about, specifically, if I can, Khrushchev, because I'm a Muay Thai guy, and I love Muay Thai, and one of the things that's very special for me, and you can see my poster in the background, is the element, is the that's it, baby, is the element of the true lessons and exercising of the body, mind, and spirit. And
Yeah.
what a beautiful culture. And of course, I mean, not for anything, but we've shared knowledge from the same teacher who is a legend in Muay Thai. For those of that don't know, Jeff is the first Canadian or North American student under the man who they call the Muhammad Ali of Muay Thai, Ajahn Bukruk Pinsin Chai, from the Pinsin
Word.
Chai camp in Bangkok, Thailand, under the tutelage of Tan Pukan Suek Pinsin Chai, who was the big boss.
Big
And
boss.
and I'll
Who
tell
still
you
sweeps
that
the gym?
he's that's right, who still sweeps the gym.
70 years
Exactly.
old. That was sweeping the gym, man. Legendary coach, man.
No doubt, man. But one of the things that is just really an opportunity to emphasize the points of success, because we all worry about this as we grow up and as we get into adulthood and spend years in a career. Is we talk about this one word, success, and it's interesting because success has different meanings for different people.
Yeah,
And
there's
so,
what are the metrics, right?
yeah, so like, I want to bring this up, Crew Jeff, because I want to sort of steer the direction of the conversation to now some of your entrepreneurial things and your entrepreneurship. You are the owner of one of the most successful MMA schools here in the nation's capital, New Era Combat Sports. And I mean, that's a proud thing, man. Like, that's pretty amazing. I owned one gym and I was losing my mind. I don't know how you own three. So
Yeah.
let's talk about that.
It's,
You come from this, difficult, let's call it, for the lack of better words, difficult background, your own personal challenges, and then all of a sudden, martial arts. brings you and keeps you focused and you understand all of these things mentioned, and then all of a sudden you decide to become an entrepreneur? What's that journey been like for you?
Well, the entrepreneur journey didn't start till well, I guess it did. I had a gym. I'll tell you how it started. I'll tell you how it started. And this is, this is a part of my life that I'm not proud of, but I'm proud of at the same time. Right? It started. Uh, I went to Brazil. I trained with the Gracie family. I trained with Gracie Baja, the original. I trained with BTT and learned a lot about mixed martial arts. Nogueira, Mario Sperry, like Peter Belfort, Murillo, UFC champ, Murillo Bustamante. Like, man, that room, man. Just being there, just watching. Like, that was when they were the best team in the world, man. Like, 2002, I was
Brazilian
there.
top team.
Ooh, man, they were winning everything in pride. Like, it was just like Nogueira was the man. He just before he fought Fedor, but like wow, man, what an experience. So I came home and then I wanted to start a ballet tudo program because MMA was still not the name of this thing. NHB to ballet tudo now, and I wanted to teach it so bad, and I wanted to go back to Brazil. Gentleman in Chris's his gym, his name was Todd Ross, and you would have met him because he used to corner me for my first title fight and didn't corner me for my second title, murder. So he was a big influence on me. We hit it off. We trained together. We ran together. And started like he was not like he did so much for my life in terms of me believing in myself, having a place to belong. The typical story, right? I need a place to belong. Oh, here's organized crime. You know what I mean? Like, so I got involved in a lot of shit that I shouldn't have. Shouldn't I have though? If it didn't happen, I wouldn't be here. So like that's a weird thing to say. That's contradicting kind of thing to say, right? But I got involved in a lot of bad things, heavy things, really, really heavy things. Ended up doing that for 3-4 years, and then one day I had saved up enough money doing very bad things, and I was going to get out. I was going to go to Toronto to go hang out, like go do some shopping. I'm going to go to Thailand. I'm going to live there for a while, and then I see a lady reading a newspaper on the train. And on that newspaper said Project Aussie stings, blah blah blah, millions of dollars, and I'm like some RCMP thing. And I asked her when she's done reading it, I'm like, can I see that paper? And I pick it up and I look at it. It's like undercover operation in a federal project undercover named Project Aussie. In the Southern Ontario, warrants are out for, and guess who's the first name? Jeff Harrison. Crazy. So and then I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And I literally start to cry on the train because I just got out. I'm like, fuck, I'm done, man. I'm gonna go to Thailand. Crazy. I'm like, I'm done, but now I'm charged. Now there's a warrant out for my arrest, man. And so I spent the day in Toronto picking up the Toronto Sun and picking up and reading about this project and trying to get some information, and then I had to lawyer up and turn myself in, and my life was changed forever. Because now it wasn't just like I was living out an action movie and doing bad things to people and making money, egregious amounts of money off other people's pain. I was caught. I had to explain this to my mother. I had to explain this to my father. I had to explain this to all the people that love me. And like that was definitely the low point in my life, right? When I got just that moment, where it's like, wow, like I got some explaining to do. I'm probably in jail. You know what I mean? Like this is going to change my life forever. So, I was in the middle. I was doing very bad things, but at the same time, I was also doing very good things. Again, dichotomy is me. Just like extreme opposites. So I get caught, I get pinched, I lawyer up, I turn myself in, I get out, I'm on bail. What am I gonna do? Well, I'm gonna fucking start training people and doing what I love. You know, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? I want to end up like Todd. I don't want to, who's still alive at this point, right? I don't want to end up like the people that I see going into the path of addiction, because it's probably going to happen eventually. You know, I don't want to get shot. I don't want to get fucking beaten by police. I don't want, you know, all these things that are just like your head, right? I don't want to get got by the guys got me that I got. You know what I mean? I don't have to look over my shoulder like when I'm 40 and I have a kid, right? So, you know, I started Muay Thai, man, and I started collecting letters. I started volunteering for Special Olympics. I started doing everything I could in my power to start building a case, you know. And I had a wonderful lawyer, and we got an empathetic judge. I'll never forget this man, Justice Westman. He was known as one who would give people second chances, and got in with him just out of luck. And the time came when, you know, I had to plead guilty. Then I had to get sentenced, and you know, I sold drugs to a police officer, like, and not nice drugs, not weed. You know what I mean? But I was screwed. I was set up by a friend to do this. You know what I mean? An undercover scenario, and basically, like, I went to this judge and I pled guilty, and then I went to this judge for sentencing, and they wanted 38 months federal penitentiary. And I said, please, sir, please, like, I'm a good person, and I did a bad thing, and I pled, man. And I had even had a tear in my eye, you know, a rare occurrence. But during this time, there was tears, you know. And I had a stack of things, letters from students, letters from, you know, Adam Castor and Adam Castor's dad, my first students, letters from Sid, letters from Con Fady, the president of the association, read letters from, you know, newspaper articles, doing fundraising, doing Special Olympics, doing this, doing that, doing all this stuff. And I said, give me a chance, man. Like, please just give me a chance. You know, you send me to jail, I'm gonna be this society's worst nightmare. You know, and those are literally my words. And you know, he read everything over, just looking there, and just, he looks like Santa Claus with his white beard. You know, and he said, and he gave me 24 months conditional sentence instead of 38 months in the federal penitentiary. So I had to do house arrest for 2 years. And that is when I made an all-in choice. I took my 2-bedroom apartment and I turned it into my first gym, 519 Fight Factory, right in the living room. There was no living room, just mats. You came to pick me up that one time. I brought Berkler. I spent all the money I had saved up from drugs on bringing Berkler to live with me for months. And I couldn't leave. I could leave 1 hour a day on Saturdays to go get groceries. Poor Berkler was stuck with me. But like, and I could get permission from like a PO to go to a fight, maybe, you know. So it was a crazy 2 years, but it shaped my drive and my passion. It also formed me technically as a coach, because I spent so much time with a living legend. And once he left, I had nothing else to do. I would download videos, because there was no YouTube. It was just downloading videos from forums, John Wayne Parr, Skarpowski. I watched thousands and thousands of fights. And instead of getting groceries, like I would get groceries, I'd get them fast so I could run to Video Plus Books and all the UFCs that I could find. I bought them all. You know what I mean? And I watched them over and over and over again. And I still have notebooks from that period, just boxes of notes. And that is where I really figured things out for myself. And that obstacle became an opportunity. And that's my lineage, man. That's my shit, man. You know, Crew Chris would come in a couple times a week, train with us. He'd bring his guys from Mass, you know, and what a crazy experience, man. And then I was still fighting too, man. Like I was fighting. I would get permission. I would have to go beg my PO, like, I got a title fight. I want to go. You know what I mean? Like, please, you know. And, you know,
What a story.
There was always a chance I would come back to that life once I get off. There was always a chance, because it was easy money, man. We were making so much money. It's fun, man. It's like it was a fun life, right? Running around and being a debt collector and like all this crazy shit, right? So there was a chance, but then, you know, my first title fight, like I had said, you know,
do you remember who it was against?
Ian Major in Crew at Lynn's gym.
That's right.
My first one, Romania versus Canada, main event, and I still think I won that fight, but whatever. Yeah, he kicked me in the leg. I got tired, right? He got tired, but Todd was in my corner for that one. And then this is actually before I got sentenced. This is still when I was on bail. And then yeah, man, fucking, I was supposed to. I had two choices. This is very, very like metaphorical and all these things. I had two choices. Todd called me. He's like, Jeff, I got something to do. I need you, man. I need you back. You know, and I need you there, man. And I'm like, no, I gotta train my kid. I gotta train Adam. You know, we're fighting soon. We gotta train. We gotta go run our sprints, and we gotta do this, and we gotta do that, right? So that night, Todd was killed, and I should have had his back. It was like that fucking ate at me for a long time, man. You know, and he wasn't in my corner when I won the belt. But I wouldn't have won the belt if I was with him because I might be dead too, or I might be in jail for whatever. You know, it's just like life gives you these forks. You got to choose. It's like choose your own destiny. And I'm grateful that I chose martial arts over that. And that was literally like a metaphor. That moment was like a metaphorical shift in the direction of my life. But I'm also regretful that I didn't go with him because I could have saved his life. What a crazy thing, right?
Wow.
Yeah, you know, like anyway, never went back. Only look forward, eyes ahead, you know. Never feel sorry for myself. That's huge. If your eyes are down, your eyes are like this, can you see what's about to happen to you? No. You know what I mean? Like that whole scenario taught me that there's always an opportunity in every single obstacle. Because that was a very dark period, but like I was sorry for myself for a week or two, and then I'm like, bam, let's go. Got to figure this out. I am not destined to be that. I'm not going to be controlled by that. I'm not going to be what, you know, what I did yesterday doesn't make me what I am tomorrow, you know, and that was a really, 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 really powerful to my life because after it, I just believed anything was possible, man. I became a champion when I was on bail. I became a professional athlete, you know, and worked my way up to become a professional athlete while I was on house arrest. I couldn't leave my house. I built a successful team of 12 champions, and no one else was allowed to train. It was not the best business model, but it was in my house. So $600 a month, man. Like it was a shitty apartment, you know.
Right.
But you know, I learned how to believe in myself, and I learned that, you know, this is going to be my path, and there's no turning back now, right? So, you know, from there things went forward. You know, what a crazy time in life, and I'm grateful for it. You know, I'm super super grateful for it, and I'm super super grateful because not just because like obviously like I have a house now, I have a gym, I have money, I have all these things, right? But more importantly, I'm able to pass the lessons taught to me by life itself, who's the best teacher, by the ring, who is the best teacher, and by my coaches, who for me were the best teachers. My coaches would be Crew Chris Q, Ajahn Berkeley Pinsinchai, and Todd Ross. And Ajahn Berkeley Pinsinchai, you know, he largely formed my technical abilities.
100%.
Crew Chris Q, just man, always had my back. A genius when it comes to the pad and kickboxing and how to fight, how to use tactics and control, how to win fights even when you lose fights, right? How to exercise ring generalship. You know, those two men definitely did that. And then Todd taught me how to believe in myself. And so every time I teach a lesson, I try to honor them by teaching not only what the technical aspects, the physical aspects, right? Berkland taught us how to be so strong. We used to do 5 kicks aside. Bing, 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 bing. Oh, cool. We're tough guys. Berkland would come and be like, 100. I'm like, what? The fuck? Bam, bam, bam. And eventually, like, you know, the body's adaptable and you learn, right? So extreme physical strength, extreme work ethic from Berkler.
Yeah.
You know, extreme tactics and generalship, and just like forming my ideologies in martial arts Chris Q, and then my belief set. You know, Chris was huge in this too. Berkeley was huge in this too, but my belief set really came from Todd, man. So every time I teach, I try to honor those people and I try to make people believe in themselves. And every time I do, and I see someone believe in themselves, because there's always tangible forms of proof, you know, when someone's like just walking a little bit different or punching the pads a little bit different or whatever it is that they're doing, you know, even just talking, you know, talking with their chest out and their eyes on you, as opposed to like this, you know, I think of my coaches, man. I think of my coaches, and I'm very, very grateful for the life and the life lessons and also the lessons from those three men that really, 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 really shaped my life, man. And what else can you be but grateful for that? Was it always perfect? No, but you know, we're here now. All roads always lead to right here. I'm talking to you. I'm in a beautiful gym, you know, and somehow I made it, man. So, woo, luck.
Well, Poutine Nation writes, talk about changing lanes.
Yeah, man.
You know, but you know what I love about this, Jeff, is that it's in alignment with my beliefs, and it's not surprising because as a martial artist who's dedicated his life to not only competing but to help others believe in themselves, you know, I decided to pivot because of the pandemic and spend some and focus some of my energy doing some clarity coaching, and I opened up a company called Decorous Life, and you know, Jeff, the truth is that part of the reason I did that was because I wanted another platform to do exactly what you just said. And that's the biggest thing that I've seen in my history of almost 47 revolutions around the sun is that people just don't believe in themselves. In fact, somebody said something to me, Jeff, a little while ago that I thought was pretty powerful. And you know what that is? It
What's
was,
that?
they say that if you're doing things for yourself, that's selfish. And then somebody said to me, you know, it's selfish if you don't do it for yourself. And
Yeah.
here's where that sort of feeling and idea comes in. I believe in this. I believe in something called self-love. I believe that I subscribe to the philosophy that we are a three-part being, that we are a body, we are a mind, and we are a spirit. And in subscribing to that philosophy, I challenge everybody who comes into my path by asking them one question. What are you doing to exercise all 3 points of the triangle of body, mind, and spirit? Some people are doing really good, their body, great shape, big muscles, look good, but they're not doing much for their mind or they're not doing much for their spirit. And I've seen the opposite end, those who were super spiritual that weren't exercising the body at all. The point
Yeah.
being that if you love, and for all those listening, I'm speaking to you as if I'm looking into a camera, Jeff, and I'm speaking to you directly. If you love anybody on this planet, the best thing that you could do for them is move closer to being the best version of yourself so that you
Sure.
can give those give those that you love what they need, not what you think they need, because there's a distinction between the two. And I love that what you've talked about through this was the idea of the fork in the road.
Yeah.
You had an opportunity to be the rock star in the world of organized crime, to be the man, to be feared.
It's good, man. It's a dopamine hit like anything else. The power
Come
that you
on,
get.
man. That's why Godfather and Goodfellas made so much money.
Yeah,
Because,
man.
you know, I mean, it was these were the movies, you know?
Yeah, that's the cool
That
thing about martial arts, and that's part of my mission, right? Is like, excuse me for one sec. I just gotta make sure my thing's plugged in. Is that okay?
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Sorry, buddy. It says
No,
I'm
no,
running
take your
low, but
time.
it's
You know, I want to continue with that thought because that fork in the road,
what's going
that
on here?
fork in the road, Crew Jeff, for you represented you being the hero or the superstar in one area, and then you choosing the road of martial arts. And because you chose the martial arts,
Sorry, what's that, buddy? Sorry, man.
you now
Gotta
have a
figure this out.
life You
Yeah.
now have a life where you're inspiring others to be the best versions of themselves. And here's the point, if we want to get metaphysical for a moment, all the masters that walk the planet, and I've said this 100 times on my show, all the masters that walk the planet said, you're not here to learn anything, you're here to remember who you are, that everything that you need is inside of you, not out. By providing a space where people can come, be open, be vulnerable, exercise their body, train their mind, and develop some spirituality in their life, or maybe even develop a spiritual practice in their life. You're doing what the master said, that once you remember who you are, or as you continue to evolve, as you remember who you are, help others remember who they are.
Yeah.
And you do that every day, whether or not it's sort of the thought of, yes, I'm going to help this person remember who they are. No, even if it's not that, you don't know that part or don't have that part, just
Mm.
the intrinsic nature of you choosing the fork in the road, dedicating your life, putting all this effort into your training, has now afforded you the opportunity to have a successful life,
No.
train some athletes that would never be where they were without a coach like you. Well, we lost him for a sec. Hopefully he'll be back. But thirdly, I want to continue this, is you, when you're involved in martial arts, folks, when you do this kind of practice, you really, really, really open your heart to people. And I was asked once in a class, what is it that we're to do? How do we really help others? How do we take this energy that we have and help others? And the answer, my friends, is four short little letters that spell one word, and that's love. And that's why, for me, guys, having somebody like Crew Jeff uh, on the show, and again, a guy that I wasn't very fond of, to be honest, because you can hear he had an interesting past. But the fact that he, as Poutine Nation, you very eloquently put, changed lanes. He's now got three of the most successful gyms here in Ottawa, and the gyms are filled with people who have found a home, a place to belong, a place where they can come and grow and learn. That's powerful to me. And that's why I think that martial arts to me is still something that, if you're watching, whether you're watching live or whether or not you're watching the repeat, if you've never, ever, ever tried a martial arts before, please go and try one. Please go and try one. You don't have to love to fight to get involved in martial arts. Crew Jeff, are you with us? I can't see your
I
picture.
think I'm back. Yeah.
I can't see your picture though. I think the camera's
Sorry,
off.
man. My freaking thing died.
That's okay, man.
I see myself.
I can't see you.
Sorry, brother.
And we want to see that handsome face there, Crew Jeff.
No, it says camera's on, so
Yeah, it's kind of black on our end. Is there something covering
I
the
see
camera?
that. I see myself on the left side.
There you go. There you go.
Am I there?
Well, not your picture, but I can certainly hear you loud and clear.
Interesting.
But as you fix that, sort of deal with the technology, what I was saying, Crew Jeff, is just the wonderful feeling. And I told everybody to go and try a martial arts once in their life. it's life changing, my friend. So I hope that you'll consider and you'll participate wherever you are in the world. There's always, and I'll tell you something, and I've been telling this, and I'm sure Putti Nation, you'll know this as well. Here we got Jeff back. Hold on 1 second. I've been telling people. Thanks. Welcome back, Jeff. Um,
Man, sorry about that, crew. Sorry.
that's okay, man. Put up your volume a little bit, crew Jeff.
Okay. I can do that.
There you go. Just because now it's
I don't really know how to do that, but
there you go.
you got me?
I got you.
Okay.
But what I was saying, crew Jeff, was is that just the not only the benefits, because everybody talks about the benefits, but about just to go and try a martial art. And what I was going to was Putti Nation. You know this from your years as a martial artist. Wherever you go in the world, I'll tell you the beauty about being involved in a martial arts. Let's say, for example, it is Muay Thai, that you've decided that you want to go and try Muay Thai. You literally could go anywhere in the world, look up a Muay Thai gym, and I promise you, you don't need to speak their language, and you've made yourself a friend. And I've had students, crew Jeff. Do you remember my student Eric Osborne? He went 7-0 as an amateur,
Okay.
and he was an insurance guy. He was a
Impressive.
six-figure professional. He ended up at Crew Phil Nurse's gym at the Watt in New York.
Oh, cool. Great gym.
And I remember him coming back, and he said, Crew, I just had the most amazing experience. Very humbly, I went into the gym, I bowed respectfully, and I walked into the gym and I started training. Then I started hitting the pads and people started to look. And then I started holding the pads and people started to look. And within one class, 1 hour, crew Jeff, of Eric Osborne being in the gym, the instructors came up to him and said, "Hey, whoever you are, would you like to join our competition team class later on this evening?"
That's awesome.
And that's the beauty. That's the real beauty of martial arts. So um, I was just filling in, crew Jeff, as we got sorted out, but it's something. It's something for me. That's why, despite the fact that I've made some pivots in my life, Muay Thai will always be part of my life.
It will never
And
not.
what I'm hoping, and of course, this is our continuing our conversation about, how I can be, and us together, we can have this friendship prove to be something that is powerful for the Ottawa community.
Yeah,
Because
awesome.
I've been very blessed to have some really good boxing teachers. Richard Atkinson, who trained under the likes of Teddy McQuarter, who was George Chuvalo's uh, teacher and boxing trainer when he fought Muhammad Ali, and gave Muhammad Ali the toughest fight of his life by going 15 rounds. And his famous line of saying, "Muhammad Ali's in the hospital and I'm going dancing with my wife."
Yeah. Yeah. Tough guy. Legendary.
Legendary. And I've had the pleasure, crew Jeff, of training with the guys that were part of this lineage for boxing. And one of the things that Teddy McQuarter was famous for was his inside fighting, and the body work and the head work from the inside. So what I'm hoping, of course, is that as we continue to evolve, as we continue to our discussions, that something will come of this, where we can do some great things for this community here in Ottawa. Because you know being a Toronto boy all my life, spending a couple of years in Thailand, and then moving to Ottawa has been a wonderful thing for me. I really love this city, and
That's cool.
um,
You have a beautiful son. What else could you want, right? Like, it's
that's it,
like,
man.
if you look at it, like, man, every single circumstance, every single thing that's ever happened to you, good and bad, has led you to this moment right now, led you to have your son, led you to be doing what you're doing exactly right now. And I would suggest it's all just pretty coincidental. I would suggest, but there has to be something also like structured to it. you know, where it's like you're almost like meant to do these things because everything's perfect. Everything bad that happens to you is perfect. Like galaxy 13.8 billion or a universe 13.8 billion years old. To me, like getting over my shit, I just started like it actually happened when I started like studying like science, like just how absolutely tiny we are, right? It's like it's so fascinating to me how meaningless, and I know like that might be the antithesis of what you preach, but like I find it all somehow meaningless, but at the same time infinity goes one way and it also goes the other, so it's everything but it's nothing all at the same time, you know. And it's like we are so tiny. We are so tiny. We I don't even think we realize how tiny we are. These like little sentient beings on this little tiny rock on this huge universe within another universe within another universe. Like it's absolutely mind-boggling if you try to think about it, and it's humbling. And what can we do, man? What can we do? What can we do? Like what does a mosquito do? What does an ant do? What does whatever do? They do what's inside of them. You know, they do what's like their purpose. So I think like if we can align with our purpose and just be natural, to me, writing, teaching people, leading other little tiny little flecks of organism like myself is natural to me. It's what I'm passionate about. And passion I think is like you said, it's like a reminder of what we're meant to do. It's like that, like you get that like feeling where like this is right. That's to me is like passion, where it's like just so right, you know. So I consider myself just like a bug, just like a lion chasing a gazelle, just like whatever. Doing what I'm doing right now seems very, very natural. And if I ever feel unnatural, then I have a tendency to try and like steer away from what I'm doing and try to get back to what I love. Because the chemicals in us are there for a reason. They're not made by man. They're made by fucking life, God, whatever you want to say. And I think that if you just trust that and trust that gut feeling inside of you and trust your passion and follow it, then you're going to live a life of what you're supposed to do, which would probably be purpose. You know what I mean? What's the purpose of an ant? You find food for the queen. What's the purpose of a lion? You mate, you go, you know, like we have these things in us. We're just animals. Sometimes I think we overthink it because there's all this crazy construct that we've invented, but it's only a couple hundred years old. You know, it's only 1,000 years old. It's only and the chemicals within us are 50,000 years old, 40,000 years old. So it's like we're like these things, but we're just be natural, man. Follow your passion, be natural. Follow your passion, have purpose. Purpose is natural. You're gonna feel it when it's right, you know. And that's probably why you left your gym, because it didn't feel right anymore, and you wanted to do something else, and that's good. You should always follow that compass. You're never gonna. You live in 2021. You're never gonna starve. You know what I mean? You have a family. You have a mother. You have all these people that love you, man. You're never gonna be not okay. And if you think about it like that, like it's just like go chase what you're destined to be and cut bullshit. And if you know, again, success is success being a millionaire? I don't think so. I know a lot of millionaires, them are miserable. Success is just having passion. You know, to me, and that's just a
Poutine Nation shared a wonderful quote, Josh, that I'd like to, or Jeff, that I'd like to read to you. Josh shared it. We know only too well that what we are doing is nothing more than a drop in the ocean. But if the drop were not there, the ocean would be missing something. That was by Mother Teresa.
Yeah, man.
And Josh, if you will, my friend, I do have something that I would like for you to do as my helper here on the Coffee and Biscotti show, and that is, Crew Jeff, Josh is actually a TEDx speaker. Did a TED talk on ants. And so
actually,
he did, and it's a fabulous. Josh, please put the link in the chat because it's worth it. I've seen it about 10 times.
I have never talked about ants in my life. That just came to my head. Is that connected?
That's connected, man.
Bro,
And
man,
Josh did an absolutely incredible, Jeff, incredible TED Talk
wow,
on
ants.
the
And
teamwork.
I just said it. That's
there you
crazy,
go. Actually, see, he's right. Actually, please, Josh,
man.
please just go and get it and put it in the chat so everybody can hear. What I call the TED Talk.
I am meant to hear that speech because I've never ever equated myself to an ant in my life, and there you go, right? And aren't we all connected? Like 7.7 billion people on this world. Every single person, over 100 million people have existed since history, and they all the matter is still on this planet. It all turned into something else, right? Like, wow, we're all connected, man. Like, like me and your father recently deceased, rest in peace. Me and that man shared single exact seconds where our hearts beat at the same time. I've only met him once. He made a mean cup of coffee, but like we are all connected. No, we are all fucking, man. And like, to me, like it's just beautiful. Sometimes you get caught up in your bullshit and you're stressed out because this guy, man, I had some guy, like, whatever, man. People talk shit. People say this when you're doing good things, right? And it bugs you sometimes. But you know what? I love that person too, right? Because they serve a purpose. They serve a purpose for a lot of people. Everybody can't be everything to everybody. Everybody's gonna be a bad guy in someone's movie, right? You're a bad guy in someone's movie for sure. I am for sure. Fuck, I absolutely am. I have enemies, bro. Like I have legit enemies that if we saw each other, we'd have to fight on the spot. Like not like, hey, you write a Facebook post. I have enemies that if I saw them, they would attack me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's okay. Yeah. That's needed too, man. Right? That's needed, bro. The bulls have to lock horns. The lions have to fight. Man, we live in this natural thing that's called Earth, and we make up this bullshit that's not real. Right?
Of course.
Fuck, man. Just be natural, bro.
Yeah, man. I love it. I love it.
Pumped up over.
That's it. He's getting all pumped up. They're gonna start throwing jabs and hooks and uppercuts. Crew Jeff, I think that one of the things that is also important to me is understanding how as we evolve, because somebody once said to me that perfection is constant evolution. And so I want to ask you, what's next for Crew Jeff Harrison? What's happening? You've got 3 successful gyms, you've got athletes, Taylor was supposed to fight in Abu Dhabi a couple of weeks ago, unfortunate injury, but what's next? Like, what do you want to do with all of this now? What's the next step?
I want to do the same thing. That's all I want to do. And I think that's the difference between me and a lot of people. I don't want to do anything else. This is what I want to do. I don't want anything more. I don't want anything less. I want to get better at what I'm doing. I want to be the best martial arts coach in the country. I want to be one of the best martial arts coaches in the world. I'm just starting this thing. To me, 20 years in, most of it was fighting. Most of it was acquiring skills. Most of it was acquiring knowledge. A lot of things the hard way. And now I'm an information broker. And people can come to me and they can get information. I don't want to do anything else. I don't want to do anything. I want to be a great father, and I want to do exactly what I'm doing. I want to do it better. That's it. And I think a lot of people see too much, right? It's like, ooh, what's that? What's that? I could do this. I could make $1 million if I did this. I mean, shut the fuck up. No, no, like seriously. Find
some
something
of the greatest advice of all time. Shut the fuck up.
Find something that you cannot live without, and then do that until you die. I want to die on the stool in the gym telling someone to hit harder, you fucking bum. No, but you know what I mean? Like that to me is just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Yeah. I want to do what I'm doing, and I want to positively affect people. And if we don't mix, that's okay. See you later. Good luck. But the people that are under my care, I want to be a lasting impression, because money comes and goes. I could buy a fancy car. That'd be cool, right? It's gonna break, right? I could buy a fucking big gold chain. I could go have meaningless relationships. I could do a number, like whatever. We can do whatever we want, right? But all those things oxidize because life is oxidizing. Life will just break everything down. Mountains crumble, rivers dry up. Everything has an expiration date. Planet Earth itself has an expiration date. The only thing that we can leave, in my opinion, is values. My grandfather left me nothing, right? On my father's side, he left nothing. I didn't go to his funeral. I didn't really know him. But he didn't have a lot of money. They lived on a farm. He had 5 kids. Like, he lied to get into the war, and that's where it comes in. He left values. My son knows all about Michael Harrison because he went to fight the Nazis, right? Great fucking generation, man, right? Like, that does not go away. My son will tell his son, and he will tell his son about this guy that changed the fucking world with the rest of these young kids that changed the world. They were part of something beautiful. That is not financial. That is not anything except values based, good versus bad. You know what I mean? And, like, to me, leaving a legacy like that, where I can teach enough people to believe in themselves, enough people to be strong, enough people to be, just a little bit more than what they feel that they are, to break the beliefs in themselves and say, hey, you can do this, man. You can do something better. I would like that to be passed on with my name or without. I don't care. All of my students have learned from me, the ones that listen, and that's most of them. Thousands of students now. Through my work at OAMA, through my work at Mass, through my work at Fight Factory, now my work here, we almost have 1,000 students. Like, it's just so fucking inspiring to try and change a person, change the world, right? Values based. Everything material is gone. It will be gone. It doesn't exist. Values always live, right? Yeah, man.
Yeah, crew, it's a wonderful reminder for me because I fell in love with the same things. I fell in love with those values that were being taught. I fell in love with watching somebody push their limits so that they could get better.
Yeah.
I loved watching someone come in. I always tell the story of a woman. Her name was last name was Mansbridge, almost like the anchor on whatever the network was, Peter Mansbridge, maybe
Yes.
CTV. I don't know. Anyway,
CTV.
she had she was an interesting woman. She came to me. This is when I was working out of a Bally Total Fitness, is where I trained. By the way, I trained Paul Sacocha, who ended up beating Nick Rondinelli.
Ooh, that's a big win, man.
It was a big ring. He had 25 fights at the time, and this was Paul Sacocha's 4th.
Wow.
And I remember Crew Jeff, him coming to me before the fight and going, "Hey, Crew, are you sure I'm going to be okay?" And I go, "What do you mean?" And he says, "Well, this guy's like a North American champion." And I said, "I don't give a shit what kind of belts he has. You have to believe in you. You're the guy that's going to go in. You're the guy that's going to beat him."
Yeah,
and
why
lo
not?
and behold, my friend, he beat the Italian Stalin, Nick Rondinelli.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
And of course, listen, I don't care what anybody says, but his fights with your coach, Crew Chris Q, were legendary.
It's good, man.
There
Yeah.
were some good fights between Paul Sacocha and Chris Q.
Oh, man. Crazy fights, man.
Yeah, man. But I think that the reminder is just to say, for those that are listening, if you're in Ottawa, go and train with Crew Jeff, because everything that you've heard over the course of almost 90 minutes is the kind of person that you want to learn martial arts from. It's not perfect, but it doesn't have to be. What it has to be is right. And what's right about it is the energy that's going into all the students that are being trained at New Era Combat Sports. The energy of the guy at the top who's saying, "Look, I've seen some shit. I've done some shit. I've done some bad shit. But I had a choice to make. And this is what I chose. I chose to be a leader. I chose to be a mentor. I chose to be a father. I chose to be a coach because that's what I want to be for the rest of my life. And those are the kinds of people that you want to learn from. So if you're in Ottawa, you make sure to drop in and say hello to Crew Jeff at New Era Combat Sports.
Thank you, sir. And yeah, man, I'm interested to see where it's gonna go. It's gonna be interesting either way, right?
Any fights coming up, Crew Jeff? Anything that we can go see? Anything that
Yeah.
is
My boy,
talk us about it.
well, I got Anissa Mexon, who's the greatest kickboxing legend and female kickboxing legend from France. Or she's the best ever. She's an 18-time world champion, 114 and 116 and 4, I think, 120 fights about. She's coming for the first time to Canada. That's on Tuesday. So if anybody's in the neighborhood and they want to stop by and witness greatness, it's a very kickboxing style, but I'm not elitist. I think you can learn from anything. So no matter what your style, you should come to the seminar. She's one of the best to ever do it, to ever lace up the gloves, male or female. Her record proves that. She's a 18-time world Muay Thai glory world champion. She's going to be one FC champion if Janet Todd stops docking her. And she's amazing, man. So that's coming up on Tuesday. In terms of fights, I got Mateo Vogel and Jake Govro coming up. That's going to be in February. So we got a little break for February. All right, little break over the holidays, and January we're going to have to work hard because Mateo has an extremely, extremely tough fight against the former number one bantamweight in the country. Outside of the UFC, of course. The guy that's been knocking on the UFC door for a few fights now, and if Mateo beats him, I'm assuming something good's going to happen for his career. Jake Govro is a teenager who can just beat everybody up. So all these kids are special, man. And like, this is the crazy thing. Like, I've got a whole crew of these. I got 30, 40 fighters right now, and one fighter's a lot of work, and you got to give credit to the team because a lot of them I don't even train anymore. I oversee things. I tell them what to do. I give them advice. I corner them. But my trainers are absolutely incredible, and they're getting wins, man. And it's very cool to see because we were talking about passing on something and values based and technique based. It's pretty neat that I don't need to be in the room and my guys can still win. I don't even go to one of the gyms hardly anymore, and that's the business that I own. These two business, like the other two locations, we're still working on, right? But like, it's fascinating to see. There's a fight team out there that is mine, but I don't really train them too much. I stop and I talk philosophy and this, and this is the role that I'm going to have to go into eventually as we continue to grow. So we got this whole crew of young kids, man, amazing athletes, amazing dedication, teenagers, like teens, man, that can just grapple. They can do everything. They're amazing strikers. And I am going to release them on the world. And it's going to be a new era. I'm telling you, man. Like, I believe in these kids so fucking much, man, because I've been around this sport for so long and I know what they're capable of because I know that they're better than anyone I've ever seen. And they can feel that. So that makes them work harder. And then they work harder and I feel bigger about it. And it's like that snowball effect. And that's what belief is, man. Snowball, boom. It's bigger.
Man.
Giant. These boys will be giants.
Exactly.
Walking among men, whether they fight or not. They will be giants in the room everywhere they go because they will have a piece of me, a piece of Berkler, a piece of all the coaches I've ever had, a piece of Peter, our jiu-jitsu coach, a piece of all the professional athletes that put time into them, a piece of Todd Ross, a piece of everybody goes into these kids and it fucking blows them into something that transcends the teenage boys that they are. And wait till they're 25. Wait till they're 30. Like, Jesus Christ, man. It's going to be amazing. Woo! Pumped!
That's lovely, man.
Yeah, man. Excited for it, If that doesn't get you out of bed, like, I don't understand you.
I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to.
you want to go the slow death by 1,000 cuts, get the pension, blah, blah, blah. Hate your job, hate your boss, hate this guy, hate that guy. Fucking come home, drink, you know, I don't understand it, man. Do something you love. Passion is purpose, man. Purpose is passion. It's natural. Be natural, you know? Anyway.
100%, man. Good for
Yeah.
you. Good for you. I'm very honored that you've given me this time, Crew Jeff, because people need more to hear that. That was the biggest thing. That was my biggest thing. You know what the difference between me and everybody that came into my gym was? I was the guy doing what I love to do every day, and everybody else was coming from somewhere that they didn't want to be. But they found this place, and this place became a community. And that's one of the things that I pride myself on. You know, somebody said this to me once, Crew Jeff, that even when I sold Lana, one of the things that changed was there was always going to be good classes. I taught my students well. I believe that, of course, through a John Burke-Lurk, I learned a lot of technique. One of the guys that I also attribute to a lot of my knowledge is Skarbowski, is Jean-Charles Skarbowski, because I think he's a
I spent
legend.
a lot of time with him too. He's awesome. He was at my
Yeah.
wedding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I had the chance to spend 10 days at his house in Paris. So
Oh, wow. Really? That's so cool.
I lived with him for 10 days at his house. We taught a seminar in the north of France, and then we went over and visited Amsterdam and Holland and drive through Belgium, and what an absolutely incredible time that was. And
so, cool,
so I attribute to that. But one of the things is, bros, that just to close here, that I'm happy that you have found your purpose, because and made that choice in that the fork in the road for you, because there's a lot of people who are going to take that energy and, as you say, become giants. I say it, become pillars of support for their families and their communities. And that's what's important. That's how we get better. And that's how the world becomes a better place.
100%, man.
Crew Jeff, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to put you into the green room, as we call it, as I give my final thoughts. And I will be with you in just a minute. And I'm going to close off here for the
Thanks for listening.
Show. Crew Jeff, you're awesome, brother. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Crew.
Kapkud Mak. Passion is purpose. Purpose is passion. You remember that, my friends. Wherever you're sitting down and watching this, go after what you love. And if I could make this a bit personal, I believe in my clarity coaching. I believe in the wolf pack. I believe in what I'm doing. And it's not easy. There's so much struggle, to the point where you start to feel desperate. But you have to persevere, because you have to believe. In the world of metaphysics, they said the universe will help you when you've put so much effort and emphasis that you're holding on to the rock of the mountain, or you're looking over this cliff and you're about to fall, and you've got one nail holding you up, because the universe wants to see that you are putting your passion into whatever it is that you're doing, into your life. So I hope that Crew Jeff has inspired you to go and live the life that you desire most. Not just to be the robot or the sheep that just follows along, but bring out that leader, bring out that joy of life, bring out the person that you were destined to be. My friends, what an absolute pleasure, what an honor to have Crew Jeff Harrison. You know, it's kind of funny. Of all of the things, I wanted to ask him about his accomplishments. And isn't it ironic? It has nothing to do with the accomplishments. Guys, he's won a lot of belts. We didn't even talk about him once. I love it. I love it. Next week on the Coffee and Biscotti Show, Anthony, Armando, and maybe a friend, Jimmy. Armando is a singer who had a hit this past summer in Europe. And actually, Poutine Nation, we're going to have maybe 3 people on the show. So I don't know how that's going to work, but we'll talk about that later on. But we could have a group next week for the first time on the Coffee and Biscotti show. Thank you to Sandra Meal for being here. 2 Tums in Kingston, Mr. Hislop, much love to you. Edwin, and all those that came to visit us and that will watch our show later on. Thank you for being here. As always, we will be rating to another channel, Mr. Poutine Nation. Today we are off to see DJ Aiden Scott for Disco Fridays. There you go, my friends. Put a little groove, a little pep in your step on this Friday afternoon. And wherever you are, have yourselves an awesome, awesome Friday. From my heart to all of yours. Happy Friday. This is Crew Mel signing off. Peace out.